Hello and welcome everyone to the Influencer Diplomacy Symposium. My name is Faye Mercier and I am thrilled to be one of the conveners of today's event alongside my colleagues Professor Crystal Abedin and Wuzhen Zhang. Today we have a very exciting lineup of presentations by global scholars whose work is at the forefront of research on influencer diplomacy. To begin, I would like to thank all of our presenters for making time to participate in today's event. As I know for some, it may be very late at night or quite early in the morning, so thank you. And on behalf of the symposium's organizing team, I would also like to extend a warm welcome to all of our attendees joining us today. This event is proudly presented by the Influencer Ethnography Research Lab at Curtin University in Borlu, Perth, which is located on the lands of the Whadjuk people of Noongar Nation. As such, we would also like to begin our event with a welcome to country by Curtin's Emeritus Professor Simon Forrest.
Kaya Wandu. Hello and welcome. My name is Simon Forrest Burungu. I'm a Whadjuk Baladong Noongar with kin connections to Yamaji and Wongai peoples. I am of this land and place. I follow a bloodline of people who have walked and cared for this land for over 40,000 years. This is a welcome to country, a welcome to Whadjuk Noongar Budja. A welcome to country recognises and acknowledges us and the first and continuing custodians of this land, Australia. Nidja Bolo, Nidja Gungungap, Nidja Maragarap, Nidja Mindarap. Kaya Wandu, Nan Kwel, Simon Forrest Burungu. Kaya Wandu, Nidja Whadjuk Noongar Budja, Nal Karich Noongar Mod, Ken Karat Nidja Budja. Nan Karich, Noongar Kabali, Borankoriye.
Thank you very much, Professor Forrest. I will now take a moment to introduce the Influencer Ethnography Research Lab here at Curtin and its mission. So the Influencer Ethnography Research Lab, founded by Professor Crystal Abedin, examines the sociocultural impacts of influencers with a focus on the Asia-Pacific region. We are a research-intensive lab with members from across APAC, as well as a core team based here in Borlu, Perth, Western Australia. And in our research on influencers, we prioritize impacts and outcomes. So this means that we aim to ensure that our research is tangible, with a focus on policy outputs, applications for platforms, guidelines for tech companies, and regulatory frameworks for governments. This focus on real-world impacts is also what draws us to today's subject, influencer diplomacy. So diplomacy has traditionally been the domain of states and official representatives, but today influencers are increasingly mediating between publics, platforms, and political agendas. And this relationship runs both ways. So just as influencers are assuming diplomatic roles, states and politicians are also adopting influencer strategies in their own international communication. From state-sponsored influencer tours to wartime content creators, the lines between entertainment, branding, and diplomatic practice are blurring. Yet, despite this growing presence of influencers and influencer practices in the diplomatic arena, the term influencer diplomacy remains rather unsettled, without a shared definition or framework. This symposium was organized to explore these dynamics in more detail, such as how do influencer cultures and industries intersect with diplomatic processes? How do platform logics reshape international communication and governance? And what does this mean for policy? By bringing together researchers from across the globe, we hope to advance this emerging field of inquiry. Today's presentations examine these questions across a range of contexts, asking what influencer diplomacy means, how it operates, and what is at stake. Now I'll give a quick overview of today's program. So today's event features diverse global perspectives spanning 5 panels and a keynote presentation. We will begin with a panel on influencers reshaping diplomacy, with 5 papers that set the stage for understanding how influencers and influencer practices are transforming diplomatic arenas. This will be followed by a panel exploring how the everyday content of influencers can function as a diplomatic tool. We will then be joined by our keynote speaker, Dr. Zoe Hurley of the American University of Sharjah, for a presentation on influencer cultures in the United Arab Emirates, a timely and illuminating discussion of diplomacy as something that influencers must actively navigate in times of crisis. Dr. Hurley's keynote will be followed by a 15-minute Q&A, and we encourage our attendees to use the Q&A function to submit your questions. Following the keynote, we will hear a panel extending this discussion of influencers in times of crisis, looking at their role as diplomatic agents. Then we will move on to a panel that examines how influencer content can facilitate bridging and understanding across divides. And finally, we will close with a panel on influencers and their complex relationships to national identity. There will be a 10-minute break between each session, with a slightly longer break between sessions 3 and 4. And please note also that there will be no Q&A for the panels themselves, only for the keynote. You can also scan the QR code on screen at any time to access the full schedule and speaker bios. So, with that all done and dusted, I think it's time to kick off the symposium. We will begin